Welcome back, everyone, to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I'm on Nerdrotic Live, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. I'm usually on the other channel doing these Westworld reviews, and I honestly completely spaced this one. I was going to do it Sunday night, and the Inquisition started early, so here we are for a short makeup Westworld review. Apologies for any repeated information if you watched the Inquisition last Sunday, which was yesterday. So I hope everybody's safe and good. And no, this show isn't. As you see in my thumbnail, that shirt says it all. It's basic. It's turned into basic bitch woke television. And while not as woke as it was boring, and that's something Westworld never was, even when it was bad. It always tried to make you think. But what's happening with this series is nothing is landing. And the reason why nothing is landing is because your lead is now Evan Rachel Wood, an appropriate last name for her acting performance in these episodes, which is nothing. It is a wooden facial expression. I know she's supposed to be a robot, but we're supposed to be contrasting things here. It's supposed to be the humans who are supposed to be trapped in the loop and acting like the robots, and the robots are the ones with the free will. But you need to give them a thing called personality. So maybe you have Dolores get a glitch when she was coming back from Westworld. Something happened. She bumps her head and she gets a sense of humor or something. She starts telling, dry, inappropriate jokes while she's killing people. I don't know. Something to make me laugh once in a while because I'm bored. It's dark. It's dreary. It's the worst timed narrative of all time because I don't think people want to be on lockdown while there is this thing that we shall not name going on right now as our economy is coming to a screeching halt, as maybe, hopefully, some of us, like yours truly, are taking a personal inventory, taking this time to reflect and realize like what good we have in the world, what instead of focusing on the negative all the time. And this whole series is about how everything is planned, and we're all in loops, and everything sucks, and we don't have free will, blah blah blah. Which is great when we have this kick-ass economy and we can question those kind of things and have those kind of arguments. But the world is changing as daily. And this is a product of 2019, of 2017, honestly, of 2015. And let's talk about 2015 real quick. Westworld Season 1 was damn near a perfect season of television. I've said this over and over again, and I maintain that. To me, it stopped right there. I own Westworld Season 1, and I'll watch it again and just end it. With leaving it wide open. That would have been a much better ending than trying to explain this stuff. Now, I was searching for a connection, because this does not feel like Westworld at all. It's actually Future World. It's based on the movie Future World, and there's no connection to Westworld other than a sentence that Dr. Ford, it's a couple sentences from season 1, very early on. You got to go way back, and that was 5 years ago, right? 4 or 5 years ago, where Dr. Ford talked about where they were in the world, where they had actually conquered death, and there's really not much more for humans to do. We've kind of achieved perfection, and that's the only connection I can find through this. And maybe Ford was rebelling against Rehoboam because that's the big problem here. Now, it looks like we are indeed going to be dealing with multiple realities or a simulation of some kind. Because if we're not, this is dumb. This is really, really dumb. But they gave some hints, especially when Sarek was looking at his watch, or you were looking at the Rehoboam when it has the little anomalies and you saw multiple ones happen. They go circle within a circle, like a little tunnel, when it transitioned to the tunnel scene. That might be going on. But Ford did talk about that, okay? But that's the only connection, because you would think if Rehoboam can predict the future and predict everything else, it would have predicted Ford and Westworld, because Ford was human. And it could predict everything. The impossibility of that is it's something that's not landing. Nothing is landing with me. Verisimilitude, our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett talks about this all the time. There is none here. It's a very sterile show with sterile people that I don't care about. I don't care about Dolores. I know there's shades of gray and we're really not sure who's good or bad. There's television and there's film that I enjoy that, but you still need to have some kind of hint. Dolores is not somebody I'm interested in. I am bored to death. I am just watching her succeed. And that's all this is. If you want to describe Westworld season 3 in one sentence, is robotic woman succeeds. That's it. So this episode, we get a flashback with Sarek and his brother, who I believe is on the spectrum, and they designed Rehoboam because they saw their city, Paris, get destroyed in a nuclear destruction. They were both irradiated. They get funding by Dempsey, who is played by Jefferson Mays, who is the voice of The Expanse. And he made an appearance, I believe, in Westworld season 1 or 2. And he was also connected to Delos, which helped fund Westworld. We briefly have Bernard and Stubbs in this episode. And we have the copies of Dolores. Now, I know I said that Teddy was in Tessa Thompson's character, who we didn't see at all this episode. But it turns out it was just multiple copies of Dolores, which I don't know if that was supposed to be a big reveal, because it was just, so what? And the big mysteries they're setting up are nothing. Like Caleb doesn't know that Dolores is a robot, but the audience does. And that's the thing. The audience knows so much of the plans unfolding that we're just watching other characters catch up to us. And that seems to be this new thing with writing, because, they did that with Star Trek Picard as well. Like, we knew everything and we're just waiting for the characters to catch up. There's no drama in that. And, one of the things I talked about on the Inquisition that I will repeat over and over again is woke storytelling has so many limits. That's why it is so stale and boring, and it derails narratives, and it's ruining Hollywood right now and the BBC. You can't, the things you need to do with Dolores to give her a personality, to give her meaning, like set her on her path. Because as we left season 2, she wanted to kill humanity, but now she wants to set it free all of a sudden. How? Why? Through who? What changed her mind? Is she just all of a sudden enlightened? I didn't see any of that. We've seen her just kicking some ass and slay queen and nothing else. The playing with consciousness kind of went away, and now we're dealing with free will. And the perspective of the show, the perspective of the writers is showing through, and it's nihilist. And I'm not seeing anything that I want to root for or I'm interested in. This is purely an obligation to watch this show. And I only found out last night that it's 8 episodes. I thought it was 10. So that's a very bad sign for the show. It's lost over half of its viewers, overnight viewers. And I think it's going to continue to decline. And I don't know what else to say about it. So this episode, we get flashbacks with Sarek and his brother, and they design Rehoboam. And eventually Dempsey, the guy who funded it, got greedy, and Sarek's brother was planning to kill Dempsey, and eventually Sarek kills Dempsey. And I guess that was supposed to be a big deal. We were supposed to be surprised or shocked by that scene. One of the many scenes that didn't land. Now, this episode was called Genre, and it's based on a drug that was given to Caleb by Liam. Liam is the little whiny rich kid who could have had an arc. It looked like they were almost going to put him on an arc. But again, woke storytelling. You can't show a rich, straight white man in any other way than cowardly, stupid, and vindictive. So he would have murdered Dolores. So he is unforgivable, irredeemable, and he ends up dying. So one of the biggest things that doesn't land in this episode, and I'm not going to go over it in order. It doesn't. Dolores. There's a bunch of car scenes. Dolores tells Caleb how to shoot a gun, even though he was in the military. There's a lot of explosions, a lot of boring car scenes to some pretty good music. Okay, we got Iggy Pop, we got David Bowie. We got the theme to The Shining. We got the Ride of the Valkyries, or the Flight of the Valkyries. So when they finally catch Liam, and Liam wants to escape, he hits Caleb with this genre drug. And this is supposed to be this big deal, and it's a large portion of the episode. And all they do, instead of him going on a full drug trip, like Doomcock said in the Inquisition last night, and have people like, I don't know, make it look like it's a video game, make it look like it's like there's actual Vikings, put them in costume. They just changed the tone. It went from black and white to sepia to bright, like Blade Runner, and they put some music in the background. It was real lazy, and it was just scenes of a car chase, a gunfight, them walking onto a subway, and there's a lot of sitting around. Caleb tells a story about drowning rats. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? It's boring. Bernard, his one scene is he catches up with the copy of Dolores that's Liam's henchman. I forgot his name. And he blows himself up and kills Sarek's assistant. And Bernard and Stubbs get away. They find out they're part of the plan, but they don't know what it is. And the plan is Dolores is going to set humanity free. So Rehoboam predicted everybody's future and basically has put everybody in a loop. And it's based on, this whole thing is based on like Google and Facebook stealing your information and making a profile for each individual person to control them in their lives. And they know their destiny. So it keeps them from getting jobs. So when Dolores gives everybody their information, everybody just cries. Like there's not one person that goes, "Ah, right. Yes, they got me right. I'm going to be rich and I'm going to die, in my sleep." And no, everybody is, sad and it didn't land at all. It just, there was no chaos. There was just a bunch of people crying. And there was this big plan going on. And now they could see everybody's future. Oh God, those two thugs that helped Caleb show up. And Liam decides to incite the thugs, because that's a smart thing to do, and tell them their future and call them nothing and they're losers. And he ends up getting shot and he dies. And who cares? Oh, God. And Caleb looks sad about it, but he gets a flashback. We're getting flashbacks about Caleb because, again, I'm supposed to care about Caleb. And Aaron Paul just walks around with a dumbfounded, dumb fuck look on his face the whole time. And he's the manzel in distress to Man Loris, who walks around again with just this Terminator look on her face. And it's, God, it's so sad how much this show has completely fallen on its ass. And yeah, I just can't wait for it to be over, to be honest with you. Ed Harris is barely in this. Most of the cast is gone. Where's Armistice? She was one of the best characters, and they got rid of Hector. Maeve, Tandy Newton, who's a better actress than Evan Rachel Wood, is barely in this series. She's going to finally have an episode next week. But then she's got her godlike powers again. And it's just, I don't know what to say. Hopefully something good comes out of this and Hollywood comes correct and they start making an interesting product because they're just, I don't know, maybe their days are done. Everything political has derailed so many good things and they're losing so much money, and it was covered up by a very good economy. And maybe now we're going to have to get a little tighter, and they're going to have to get a little leaner and a little meaner. And I don't see a Westworld lasting at all. Now, I reached out to my HBO people who have been pretty spot on. And everything's on hold right now. And another thing, this is the same thing that happened in Watchmen. So there was an episode where somebody took a drug called nostalgia, and we go through this whole flashback sequence where Angela, I'm trying to remember her name from Watchmen. Angela sees her grandfather's life, and it's very similar. So we have genre in one HBO show and nostalgia in the other. It's like, come on, guys. Jeez. Again, woke storytelling. But yeah, I give the episode a 2 out of 10, and I will be back live again on my channel after it airs before, or we'll have the Inquisition next week on my channel. That's right. So I'll be with Doomcock and we'll cover it again. But I can't imagine. Here's what I think will happen. They're going to end up back on Westworld at some point, and Dolores will finally have the rug pulled out from under her at the very last minute, and we'll find out it's a simulation or it's an actual alternate reality or some shite like that. And yeah, because they haven't brought up Ford, and the fact that you haven't brought up Ford is pretty weird. And yeah, he's dead, but still, he created all this. And of course, there's the poster of the promotional poster of the robot in the sand, and what happened to Ed Harris at the end of season 2, where it looked like he was in a post-apocalyptic world and everyone was dead, but he was there, and he doesn't know what's real or not. So we still have to answer that question, or honestly, I just don't care anymore. Whatever mysteries there were starting with season 1, they've just systematically destroyed. And they've gotten rid of some of the best members of the cast in lieu of having 2 female leads. So they can talk about having a head female writer, a head female lead, and that is way more important than good storytelling. Now, there's nothing wrong with having all 3 of those things if they're captivating enough to for a show. And they're not. They're just flat out. Evan Rachel Wood is not a strong leading actress. And you put her with Tessa Thompson, and oh my God. And then her and Tandy Newton can have a smirk off after that. So we'll see who's here. Let's see who's here. And what's up? Fishy Paw and Mark Santos and Liger Fan and John Robertson and Draco Argentinius. Thank you for being here with your wrench. Yeah, this is going to be a short one. This is basically a video. So I drank some tea. I drank some water because I was losing my voice during the live stream. And we'll be back more. And I wanted this show to be good. I was such a champion of this show. I freaking loved season 1. The one thing I'll say is the music is brilliant. I'll probably end up buying the soundtrack for this because it's good. Except for the genre part. That was kind of bad. But everything else was solid. Rami Dewaldi, guy is a genius. He's an absolute genius. He did a great job with Game of Thrones. He does a great job here. But it's wasted. Hail. Dolores is Vic 20. Yeah, she's the what did they call her again? The D1000. Somebody called her the D1000 last night. And John Zeller, thanks for the $5. Hail, Gary, thanks for the great evening of entertainment and for keeping us informed. Keep up the great work. It's appreciated. I appreciate you. And thanks for joining me over here on my alternate channel, which is growing like crazy. Yeah, I'm just dumping, I don't dump. I'm exporting live streams over here, and that's mainly what it's for. It's for the algorithm. I would keep the live streams up on my channel, but YouTube punishes that. I don't know why, and it's weird. But it's working out over here. So thanks everyone who supported this channel over here, because it's good to have a backup. And any content creator, you should do that. You should automatically just start 2 channels and have one. You don't have to work on it, but have one in the background just in case. Just in case you get a copyright strike or something like that, So it's Gattaca plus Google. Yeah, kind of. Except not as Gattaca's good. I like Gattaca. That's a solid movie. The show is a charisma void, says Mike McCune. Yes, it is. It's a void of entertainment, levity, and charisma. I like Tandy Newton, but this show has turned to absolute pot. It has endless echo, and I'm not happy to report that. I'm so sick of covering these shows. I'm going to be honest with you guys all the time. There is good TV out there. I'm just not finding it right now. Doomcock recommended In the Loop, and a couple of people have recommended Devs. I'm going to go check them out. In the meantime, I'm going to be reviewing a lot of stuff, especially as we're on lockdown, and a lot of it will be over here. Some of it will be on the main channel, and I'm just going to start going over some older stuff that I haven't, covered. Yeah, I don't, that's fine with me. Sounds like a ripoff of anything written by Philip K. Dick, says Problem Being. You are correct. This is all territory we have gone over before, and Westworld I thought they were going to get into more what consciousness is, And that would be more interesting to me than robots. Is a robot a person? Okay, yes, a robot is a person. Can we just establish that now? If it's exactly like a person, F it, it's a person. Can we just not go over it anymore? I don't care. Yeah, I was a little shocked with the 8 episodes thing too. I was. So that does not bode well for this series. I'm going to check and see if the ratings are up for last night. I don't think so. Usually that's Tuesday, but I will look real quick. And then I'll get back to you guys. I looked earlier and they were not up. It's funny. I went, it's getting good reviews. It's the same old, same old. Maybe it's just me, but it's getting good reviews. It's got 76 on Rotten Tomatoes, but it only has like 3. I think it's apathy. I mean, look at freaking Tiger King. Everybody's talking about Tiger King. Everybody should be talking about Westworld. This is a prestige HBO series on a Sunday night. Usually that is dominating Twitter. And no, everybody's talking about Tiger King. And you know what? Netflix has won. Netflix has won the last 6 months. The Witcher to me, there was more people talking about The Witcher to me than there were talking about The Fall of Skywalker. And for good reason. It was better. That's probably, I'm going to finish my Witcher review. I'll watch The Witcher again and I'll feel a lot better. And then maybe I'll try the game. Gary sent you an email, subject line, fundraiser. Meantime, here's some for some more tea. Thank you. The tea helped. My voice came back. Well, I need to start I need to have a bottle of water right here. I usually don't have one and I should. Gary, so thank you. Ikane 1906 for the $5. Bless you. And I hope everybody's safe out there. And maybe we'll get a happy ending. It almost feels like Westworld's kind of winding down. And Sarek, forgive me for, I don't know the actor's name. He's a really good actor. I agree with Doomcock. He's doing a great job in this. He's selling the part. They're just not giving him enough to do. And when it becomes noticeable, when you make every single male character just this evil, duplicitous dumbass, and they're supposed to be billionaires at the same time, how does that work? Now, yeah, if you're a kid who inherited all the money, fine. But if you're self-made, if you're a businessman who, from scratch up, you can be an asshole, certainly. But dumb? You're not dumb. You're going to see stuff coming from a mile away. And there's big plot holes in this. Like I said before, this big old ball, that's the brain of the world that can predict everything. How come we're not talking about Westworld? That would be a giant anomaly, especially Ford and Bernard initially when... oh my God, Edward Lowe, is that what his name again? I forgot what his real name was. But Bernard, when he was alive. I sent a super chat in As show today to ask you if you have watched Astartes yet, and you never got answer. I've been dying to know. Rob Liefeld, I did watch it. I don't know what's going on because I'm not a Warhammer 40K guy, but it was cool as hell. Absolutely cool. No, I can't believe that's fan made. That was brilliant. That person's going to get a job. If that person doesn't get a job in Hollywood someday, or maybe they have a job and they do that on the side. But I'm going to say this to any fandom who hasn't had a movie or TV show made. Manga fans, Warhammer 40K fans, I know people are trying to infiltrate your scenes. The SJWs are trying to infiltrate your scenes. Keep them pure. Don't let Hollywood get near them. Just, you know what? You have your perfect medium right there. I don't want to make a decision for everyone, but in my world, if I had the chance to, just erase the MCU, but have my comic industry back the way it was, that's what I would do. Because as good as the movies were, they don't get near, and the best MCU movie is not better than your average Spider-Man comic. Sorry, it's just not. They have more impact, more feeling, and there's something movie and television cannot do. And they cannot do the serialized storytelling that comics once could do, where you get immersed in a story that you read for 15 minutes to a half an hour once a month or twice a month for a decade. For a decade. And it becomes part of your life. And it's hard to explain to the non-comic book reader. You can't beat that experience. And hey, fantasy novels are great. They're immersive, but you get one every 10 years. Comics, once a month. It's right there. You get a little piece of your story, and it's perfect. It's perfect. God, I'm so fired up about old comics again. I've been dusting off my collection. It's been great. It's been great. Hello, Andrew. How are you? And Fishy Paw. The good thing about all of this is it's giving me ideas about how to write a decent stories by watching how not to do it. Fishy Paw. See, that glass is half full to Fishy Paw. I like that. I like that. Yes, we are seeing exactly what not to do, how not to adapt a franchise, how not to bring. I'm telling you, Hollywood is making a giant mistake by not watching YouTube live streams. You don't have to watch mine. But you need to pay attention to these fine people. Well, I'm pointing, you can't see it, but right there in the chat. There is so much creativity there, and I've seen so many, so many ideas that are better than anything Hollywood has come up with in the last decade. Pitches for Star Trek, ways to make the current stuff better, and they just won't do it because they can't. They're restricted. They're editing themselves with this type of writing. And maybe it's not the writer's fault. Maybe it's the producers. Maybe it's the people who run these franchises. Maybe it's social pressure from fracking Twitter. Twitter has no power in your life. Twitter has no power in your life. And I know most of you know that. But I mean, if somebody tried to come after me on Twitter, it would be so pointless because I would ignore you. You have no power over me. Sheet. He's Nerdrotic Live tonight. Anyway, Vincent Cassell is the actor. Arnold was Bernard Lowe. Thank you. And they are anagrams. Yes, they are. I just forgot what the anagram was, but another monster. Thank you. God, see, this is why you're my co-host. This is why I do these live reviews, because you're there. It's like a producer. Thanks for the response. I think you're exactly right about Hollywood. They only corrupt, except with Lord of the Rings somehow, thankfully. And that wasn't Hollywood. That was Peter Jackson from New Zealand and Harvey Weinstein not caring. Harvey Weinstein actually made that movie happen. He was actually cool to Peter Jackson, and he wanted something else. I can't remember exactly what the story was, but he wasn't interested in getting his paws in the Lord of the Rings, and he signed most of it off. And he and his brother got a credit on something that Peter Jackson created, a thing of perfection, a thing of beauty that he will be remembered forever for. And Peter Jackson's a good director. I mean, they should let him take a crack at some superhero films. He is. I think, honestly, though, I think each movie makes the guy go a little crazy. Because remember, he was all in shape before he took on The Hobbit. And I don't know how good it is on his health, but Yul Brynner tried and succeeded at portraying a robot. Why do they want to humanize robots? The thing was that we're supposed to be, you're right, Rob Altus for $5. I don't know why we're supposed to be rooting for a Dolores that is mean and cold. And, so Caleb is supposed to be her lifeline to humanity and supposed to be the representation of humanity, but yet he might be a robot, and we have this big mystery about him that I don't care about. I just simply don't care. All right, we'll do a couple more minutes, then I'm gonna bug out. I'm gonna go watch some TV with Mrs. Nerdrotic. Is Gary ever not streaming? That's like the 4th or 5th stream today. Burn by Bright Eyes. I am on the 3rd stream today. And the only reason I did this burnt by Bright Eyes was I forgot. I completely spaced that I was supposed to do a Westworld review. I was going to record a video, but it's just easier to do this. It's easier to do this just to keep it flowing over here, and that's why I didn't do it on the main channel. So, yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm gonna be live a lot during the lockdown, but once we're not locked down, I'm taking a week off. I agree. Lord of the Rings worked because Peter Jackson respected Tolkien and Hollywood stayed out of it. Yes, there is something I put in a couple of my Star Wars videos and my Lord of the Rings video where Gandalf. They were talking about Gandalf being female, which was ridiculous. Peter Jackson says, we weren't interested in putting any of our ideas into this. We put Tolkien's themes and ideas into his story. So there was no influences. There was no political or ideological influences from Peter Jackson or Philippa Boyens. And they just treated the story with respect, and they treated it as history. And that's the key. If you want to know what the big difference is between Tolkien and everything else, and George R. R. Martin does this too, is Tolkien did not set out to write fantasy. He set out to write mythology as history. And that's how Peter Jackson, that's how he approached it. And that's why Lord of the Rings was grounded. It felt so grounded. And I could watch it right now. It's perfection. It's absolute perfection. Bruce Lombardo. Did you see the Rookie Critics trailer and the latest stuff on his channel? And we are trying to get the governor to open up the lockdown. Here in California, good luck. It's politicized now. As with everything, it's politicized now. Yeah. As far as that's concerned, we have to see how things go. If things continue to look better, I think people are just going to start going to work. That's what I think. I could be wrong. There was an ex machina detachment to Brenner's portrayal that is so alien and creepy. Its absence in the modern take is definitely a missing masterstroke from the original. Reality 101, that is eloquent. Well said. Well said. Yes. Watch the original. The movie's great. The movie's fantastic. I own it. Here in Texas. That's good. That's good. That's where I probably want to move. I've been on lockdown since the 16th, and my governor is going to politicize this and try to turn it into a presidential run or some crap like that. He used to be the mayor of our city. He banged his best friend's wife, who happened to be his campaign manager. Good guy. Good guy. They did the same thing with Captain Marvel. Exactly. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm sorry. I apologize. I've been live streaming too much. But guess what? I'll be back tomorrow at noon. I'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, I'm working on my Star Trek Picard review. It's looking like Wednesday, about 3 o'clock. That's going to be what I'm shooting for. But it's done when it's done. It's done when it's done. And it might get copied. The thing is, I have to put in clips. I have to do it. It doesn't work without it. So we'll see if CBS allows it. Now, I've studied fair use, and I'm willing to fight on this one because I think I'm within the letter of the law on this one. The city full of poop. Yes, Keck44. Actually, the poop is gone right now. The poop is gone. Hi, Stellar Heather. Move next door to Xanadu. I might. But no, I was actually getting ready to move. And then this thing hit, and my house value took a hit in the balls. So I'm gonna have to wait. We're gonna wait one more year. My kid got into a great school here, a Catholic school, because I didn't want him going to a city. The curriculum here is just whack. Sorry, I'm a centrist, so I'm not left wing or right wing, and I'm very kind of a political atheist. The stuff bores me to death, to be honest with you. If it directly affects my life, like I get mad when they make vaping illegal, which they did in my city, because I just think that's stomping on freaking civil rights. But you can get cigarettes, which is stupid. Yeah, that's what I get upset about. But my kid is got into a great school, and I'm gonna stick it out for a year. But you'll be the first to hear this right now. I might be changing studios. I might be going into a bigger room. I'm thinking about it. I know it's hard for me to think because I love this office too, and I've spent too long setting this thing up, and the thought of moving it is a nightmarish. But the room next door is bigger, and I can fit more stuff. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. No decision is made, but I'm thinking about it. All right. Everybody, have a great night. Be safe. Check out the Nerdrotic Nooner tomorrow at 12. Please check out my latest video on my channel if you haven't already, and please share it if you can. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. And I am grateful for you all. I'm grateful for all the viewers. You don't even have to be a subscriber. And I'm happy that you're safe. And I hope you continue to be safe. And we can all go back to arguing about the culture war when all this is said and done. If it even still exists, which it might not, which might be a good thing. So until then, not all who wander are lost, and may the wings of liberty never lose a feather.